The agenda.
So moved.
Second. All right, we got a motion probably seconded. Any discussion? All right, please call for the vote of the roll.
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kalai Kandasamy,
Aye.
Karen Mills, Kim Short, Tanisha Allen,
Aye.
Pamela Young,
Aye.
Ralph Smith,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that resolution or that motion is approved. I believe that we need to, for our people who are participating virtually.
Yes. Did.
Motion to.
Yes,
Let's bring them
Mr. Chair,
in.
we need to have those people identify who they are, their
Ah.
reason for being absent, and their location.
Okay,
And then the board needs to approve their.
okay, so we have a few commissioners that are online currently. If I can get, and I believe I'll go in this Supervisor Bodie, Commissioner Bodie, if you could just state why you're online, and then you don't need to know where he is that okay?
If it's personal leave, you need to identify where you are. If it's medical, you don't.
Medical, okay, so then I need to ask that, is it medical, is it personal, and if it is medical, no location, if it's personal, a location. All right, and Commissioner Bodie, we'll start with you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight I am remote due to a medical reason.
Okay, and Commissioner Franklin.
Hello, I am remote for personal reasons and I am in Northern Virginia.
Very good. Do we have any more remote speakers? No, no, remote commissioners. Okay, just the two. All right,
Move to approve.
move to approve. We got a motion. We got a second, it's been properly motion and seconded. Can we call for the roll?
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kalai Kandasamy.
Aye.
Karen Mills. Kim Short,
Yes.
Tanisha Allen.
Aye.
Pamela Young. Ralph Smith,
Yes.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
We've got a proper motion and it's properly seconded. Any discussion? All right, call for the roll, please.
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kalai Kandasamy.
Aye.
Karen Mills. Kim Short,
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Tanisha Allen,
Aye.
Pamela Young,
Abstain.
Ralph Smith,
Yes.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
I think I was absent, right? I was here.
I think you participated virtually,
Aye, virtual.
and Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And moving right along, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dalton. PRE.
Thank you, Chairman Ingray, commission members and others. A couple of things tonight. First, let me just, you do have the VRE CEO report in your packet and some other information in there from the March meeting. So just let me give you a quick update. Our system-wide reliability for the month of March continue to exceed our goal of above 90%. System reliability came in at 93%. And then ridership for the month of March compared to the month of February, and frankly, the preceding couple of months, as we started to see some signs of federal agencies, private employers open up. We did get a little, we did see the results of that. In the month of March. So for example, in the month of March, our average daily ridership was right about 2,900. And for the month of March, our average daily ridership increased by almost 1,000. So over 3,900. So about a 40% increase. Again, that's just the beginning, and we anticipate seeing a lot more, not just on the federal agency side, but private employers coming back over the next, next couple of months. I will also state that we at VRE as a staff, we have initiated our return to work at our headquarters facility. And we're in the first phase of that, eventually moving into the second phase here in a couple of weeks, which will actually put staff at our headquarters location about 3 days a week. And that was, as I've reported before, partly because of the pandemic, but primarily because we went in to renovate that space. And we have been severely delayed by supply chain issues and stuff like that. So it's now a safe place for staff to come back to. And so we'll start doing that as well. And other locations, staff is always, never technically worked from remote environments. They've always staffed up those other locations. So that's the end of my report. Chairman angry, but we do have an action item here. So if you want, I can step right into that.
Yes, sir. Let's, anybody got any questions, first of all, for Mr. Dalton? Okay, moving right along.
Okay, 6.2 on the agenda. This is to authorize the VRE CEO to execute a deed of ground lease and parking garage agreement with the Economic Development Authority of the City of Manassas Park and the City of Manassas Park and the City of Manassas Park. Just in summary, we've been collaborating with the City of Manassas Park for several years, predominantly over the last couple of years to execute various agreements and to work in collaboration with design of the parking garage project there for the City of Manassas Park. And so we are getting ready to go and solicit for construction. So this is one of those agreements that were in the stream, if you will, when we started this project. So specifically what this will do for us is it'll recognize a ground lease. So VRE can go and construct a parking garage. It's on about 2.5 acres there in the City of Manassas Park. The term of the lease is essentially ongoing as long as VRE exists. The cost is $1 per year. And then in addition to the ground lease, there's also it does define basically some maintenance responsibilities and some provisions, if you will, in there if we get to a point where we start getting at capacity, kind of how we're going to handle those provisions there. So that's a real brief summary. Glad to take any questions or anything like that, Chairman.
Before we get there, I'm going to go ahead and just ask for a motion for action item 6.2.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All right. Any discussion? We have a proper motion. It's been properly seconded. In discussion? No discussion? Okay. Ma'am, could you call for the vote?
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kalai Kandasamy.
Aye.
Karen Mills. Kim Short. Tanisha Allen.
Aye.
Pamela Young.
Yes.
Ralph Smith.
Yes.
Jeanette Richel.
Yes.
Matthew Kelly.
Aye.
Deborah Frazier.
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Is that it for your report?
That
sir?
is the end of my report, Chairman Angry.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Anybody got any question? We're good? All right. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Questions, sir? Thank you,
All right.
commission members.
And moving right into public comment time.
Mr. Chairman, no comments were submitted to me prior to the deadline.
All right, we're rocking and rolling. All right, going into consent agenda. Action item, approval. Okay, there's no special. public
Move
comment?
consent agenda submitted.
Oh.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been properly seconded. Any discussion? No discussion, all right. Call the vote.
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kalai Kandasamy.
Aye.
Karen Mills.
Aye.
Kim Short. Tanisha Allen. Pamela Young.
Aye.
Ralph Smith.
Yes.
Jeanette Richel.
Yes.
Matthew Kelly.
Aye.
Deborah Frazier.
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that resolution or that motion is approved.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving right into executive director time, Mrs. Stein. Dr. Stein is all yours.
My pleasure. So first, I wanted to share a few slides to answer Supervisor Vega's question last month about our proposal for Sunday services and some of the information there. We've got a few slides that we'll put up here for you very briefly. So what we do is we model a lot of our ridership projections and where we add services off the latent demand model. Frequently used in economics, it's what demand is there beyond what you're currently delivering? What is the unmet need? And that's what we pay a lot of attention to when we bring forward proposals to add service, grow an area, et cetera. So using that model, we're really after taking a look at how what we deliver on Monday through Friday doesn't meet travel needs on a Saturday. So for example, if we have great service and no one needs to travel on the weekends, our buses would be completely empty on Saturday. Well, the chart we have before you, the orange line is the one we want to point you to. That is the productivity of passengers per hour of local service on Saturdays. It actually outperforms our Monday through Friday. And you're like, well, why don't you do that all the time? Well, the answer is that's very, very limited number of routes. It's quite frankly insufficient for what we could probably meet for the community needs. Also, very limited number of routes, limited frequency, and limited span of service. So we're taking a lot of demand and compressing it into a very small number of hours. So you get this efficiency rating that's a bit misleading in terms of understanding that. It's not very effective, but it's highly efficient. So what we're doing is we're able to look at this and say, okay, we can clearly tell that there's a high demand for services on Saturdays, which gives us the indicator that weekend travel patterns have an unmet need right now in Prince William County. So that's the reason we brought that recommendation forward. Again, it's limited service. It's 52 Sundays a year, less any holidays that fall on those days. But wanted to provide those charts. I think there's maybe one more, but it's also in your board packet. So this gives you just a sense of where's the ridership coming from in terms of the distribution of service. Gives you a nice picture of Saturdays give you high efficiency, but they take up very little resources. And that's a very simple way to kind of look at what we do. Manassas is in yellow for the Western services. This is all local, of course. Eastern services are in blue. And then that orange is that snapshot of what our Saturdays look like. So again, very, very small amount of our total costs in terms of our distribution of services. Moving forward. And that's where we get into what is our daily average local ridership. And that's where you see just combining all weekdays, east, and then Saturdays. So this is now when you start to take out, you don't have all of the demand compressed into just a Saturday, and instead you look at what's the ridership. You see we still have significant ridership on a Saturday, even though it is more compressed. So this is the data that we really use to look at what is going to drive attention. And again, I apologize for the color shift here. Before Saturdays were orange, now Saturdays are gray. We couldn't make Excel behave itself that well for us. So just noting that we still do have strong ridership on Saturdays. And it continues to be something we pay attention to. And it was quite a discussion for us as a staff of, do we try to bring money to improve services on Saturdays, or do we expand to Sundays? And the indicator is giving 7-day-a-week service is essential to growing the economy. Very important for whether it's faith-based activities on a Sunday or employment. We hear a lot of comments from people trying to access employment on Sundays. Yes, ma'am.
Did you do an analysis to see if the ridership was due, what it was due to, before you decide that you're going to concentrate on working on, increasing that?
Yeah, we utilize survey data, we feedback from customers, we go to public hearings, public meetings, requests from the community. The key indicator is what's available and what's open on Sunday. And almost everything is. Saturdays are almost identical to Sundays in terms of economics.
Yeah.
Number of businesses open, traffic patterns, travel patterns, traffic density as well is part of that. So that's much of what we look to in terms of understanding if Sundays were radically different than Saturdays, we might bring a different model to the table. But because they're near identical, it made it very easy for us to propose that.
Yeah, I was also thinking the fact that, 95 is a mess on weekends anyway, but I also was thinking a correlation with games. And on Saturdays, people wanted to go out, but also on, those weekends that there are many games up north and people want to take that traffic. So just keeping that into consideration, I thought it was something to look at when you do your analysis.
I think this is a good area. If there are any questions that we ask them now, because this is a good one, and I have a question actually to lead with yours, because if on Sunday, one of the things is I think we have an opportunity here, right? Because prices are so high, we don't know how long that's going to be, and we really need to get people back on buses, right? Cheeks and seats, right? And so on Sundays, when you look at church locations and you look at like sporting events, we don't necessarily have drop-off points at those locations. And does that change a route if you can build out a Sunday route based on the needs of people, where they're going? Like, we know there's church service, and if you can get folks out of cars and literally out of bus stop on a church route, and also when that church ends, the bus route just runs it back. Is that an opportunity or possibility as we're looking at like a future of bus to really get buses back in service and really get folks out of cars, which then solves a lot of the greenhouse gas and traffic and all this. But I feel like we have an opportunity here to do something more by allowing a Saturday, Sunday service and really trying to grow it, right?
Yes, indeed. One of the good things is we are traveling on the major roads where the majority of those faith-based organizations are, be it Route 1. We can't serve them all just because of the sheer volume of number of churches in the region and where we currently serve. But for example, Dale Boulevard, Route 1, Lake Ridge, etc. So it's not just that group, but then beyond that, we have opportunities downstream of flexible services. And again, as the number of people continue to move to the area, we will have more and more demand. So when we bring enhancements to the table, we bring it as a Saturday, Sunday package. So it affects both days.
And then just the other point, reliability. Very, very, very
Right.
important. Let's keep that in the forefront. I'm not always here, but I just thought I would just.
Right. Any other comments, questions? Great.
Also, Supervisor Bodie had asked about the benefits, or were we receiving some of the benefits of deadheading for our Western services? We said, yes, we are, didn't have the data at hand. So for right now, we've seen a 22% reduction in our deadhead costs for the Western-based routes. Nowhere near as much as we would like, and I'll explain why. But if you take that 22%, it's about a third of our services have been relocated out there. So when you look system-wide, it's about 7%. Okay. But the reason it will only get better is right now they haven't put a traffic light in on Ballsford Road. So our buses can't make a left-hand turn. So to go the quarter, half a mile up to, or maybe it's a mile to Cushing Road, they have to travel Ballsford Road to Ashton, to Sudley Manor, to 234, just to get what is almost down the street from us. So we have some inefficiencies there. We don't have efficiencies of accessing the interstate easily except through Cushing Road. That will all change in the coming months. We'll get our traffic light installed. We'll have the improvements right there at 234 being done, where Ballsford will cross at 234, and the Ballsford commuter lot will be finished, which means we'll have immediate direct access to the hot lanes, which are due to open in December. So we'll have nothing but improvement in those numbers. Plus, the whole point of it was not just to save money in the near term, but about future service. And we've been working with DRPT and VDOT about the potential and what enhanced services we'll be offering on that corridor. So again, it will only continue to benefit us for the costs we've already expended to date. So that's a very positive thing. Third, the commission asked me to draft a letter to the Secretary of Transportation and DRPT. And with the shifting positions of the different ideas of how to reconcile in Richmond, each draft was made null, I think, by the end of each week. So as you may have seen in the news over the past few weeks, different organizations, be it chambers of commerce, road construction companies, et cetera, have signed on to different letters. And right now, all the different sides are just fitting into different positions. So in discussion with our lobbyists and some of the different trends, our approach instead is to find out what the compromise will be. And then we have information, data, and an understanding. Because to address an issue, once again, we're lost in the flood. So one more letter isn't going to have as much impact as once the actual whatever reconciliation process is going to occur out of Richmond. And that's what we're going to pay the most attention to. At the same time, this is something we'll be discussing here in a few minutes. We may have an opportunity in June to express some of these concerns face to face, as I'll describe here in just a few moments. For services and ridership update, ridership in March has been increasing week over week. We saw about a 15% increase between the 1st of March and the end of March. That puts us at about 45% of total ridership pre-pandemic. If you account for the fact we're offering about 15% less service for commuter, if you count up the number of seats that were full before and the number of seats after by ratio, we're about 65% full. If you were to do that apples to oranges comparison, adjusting for services down. So we continue to see the benefits there, and we continue to see also increases in our local service, which is good. That has already been performing much better than commuter services, but the fact that local ridership continues to climb is definitely a positive. We've also met with DRPT and VDOT to make sure that for the commuter services that the express lanes are on time. What are the other operational issues? And the hot lanes are due to open in December of 2022. So that is still on track. Our zero emissions bus study is still underway and also on time, which we'd like. We're in the process of scoring the various technologies against each other. Modern diesel is a relatively clean fuel in comparison to what it was 15, 20 years ago. So having some baseline understandings and then comparing and contrasting against current is a big part of what we're doing and helping with the decision-making process. We're also in the current process of developing a grant application for FTA for electric vehicles for medium and light duty fleets. Big bus is the biggest challenge just because of the weight restrictions, the way the construction of the bus. But for medium and small and light vehicle fleets, they are tested, they are ready for market. In front of Manassas City Hall, in front of Prince William County, the charging stations are already in place for electric vehicles. We would just join that group. We have a meeting scheduled the next 2 weeks with VDOT to discuss the concept of having charge and ride stations. It's an incentive to come in, plug in your electric vehicle, climb aboard the vehicle, ride into the city or where you need to go, but also deploying that at the local level where maybe you do plug your car in at Manassas City Hall, hop on the bus with us, and we take you down the Liberia corridor to do your shopping. So we're taking advantage of the existing network. We are reducing miles traveled. We are reducing congestion, and we're shifting the cost of capital acquisition to the federal government, which helps our local resources last longer. This is already funded, it's incentivized, so they want us to expend these dollars. We hope to have a resolution for you in May to authorize us to apply for the grant, which is due by May 31st. So some save the date items for you. On Wednesday, May 4th at 6 p.m., we'll host our annual public hearing at the Transit Center for the budget, which also allows for remote participation for attendees so we can be inclusive in our approach. The hearing notices are in Spanish and Vietnamese with methods to include, with publicity to include English, Spanish newspaper ads, website, Transit Center notices here at the Western facility, notices on buses, Rider Express, and many more. And as always, we do take written comments as well as people can call in and tell our customer service staff, who then translates that information and prepares it as well. April 25th, we'll also be welcoming our new Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Phil Perella. He comes to us from CDTA, Capital District Transit Authority in Albany, New York. So larger system than ours, but a lot of parallels in that they have a pretty robust commuter service. They serve Saratoga, Troy, New York, et cetera. He's been their Director of Finance for the past 10 years. After spending more than 10 years in the grants world at RPI, which is Rensselaer Polytech Institute, Carnegie One Research, complex grants, all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and then 5 years doing grants at CDTA. So it's a great opportunity. We look forward to welcoming him. And for now, something completely different, something that I've discussed with Chair Angry, is the idea of relocating our June meeting, which is scheduled for Thursday, June 2nd at 7 p.m. to Roanoke, Virginia. The reason why is the Virginia Transit Association has its meeting June 1st and June 2nd. And it is one of the cheapest conferences you can attend. It is the equivalent for us about $325 per person. When you include, we take a group down, so transportation's relatively inexpensive. And then it's one night lodging and the registration's 4 people for $300. So the advantage of this is if we were to host the meeting down there, there's typically the Secretary of Transportation, the Director of Rail and Public Transportation for DRPT. We will have, you'll also be able to see bus products. Buses are on display, vendors are on display with technology. Sometimes we get bus shelter information, all sorts of different vendors, plus presentations on what is going around the state. Hampton Roads, Richmond, Charlottesville, and an opportunity to see what is occurring. So it's one of those scenarios where for bang for buck, it's tax tag in total, probably 36 hours of your life between traveling one day, and we would host the meeting there, make arrangements for those who couldn't attend to participate virtually, and then also make sure we hit our public involvement requirements. So we can do that through remote or have a physical presence here that people can report to. So we would check all those boxes. But before we go down that big rabbit hole, we wanted to check the general temperature after speaking with Supervisor Hager. What is the general sense of that? And we would open this to all of our commissioners and alternates for this activity, because you're going to get a crash course in transportation policy, speakers and state level funding issues. You'll get a sense of what's going on out of the Secretary's office, but we typically get FTA participation as well. And they come explaining how the infrastructure grants work, how their 5307 funding, which is how they help fund maintenance for services. Just a great opportunity to learn a lot in a very compressed time frame.
Questions, comments?
The first question, I guess, what would be how you determine which commissioners or alternates would be eligible to go? Like if you said 4, but if there's more than 4 that want to go, then what?
Everyone is welcome. And then whoever wants to sit at the table for the full meeting, so we can conduct the business of the commission. But we look at this as alternates are sitting here tonight helping to make important decisions on behalf of transportation issues. Elected officials are also alternates that go back to their communities and have to give guidance. They serve on FAMPO, they serve on VRE. So we look at it as it's an opportunity to really raise the profile and information level for all of our commissioners as well as the alternates.
So how do you get to decide who the 4 members are?
I
Is
don't
that
think
what
it's a
you
limit.
said?
I think
I
anybody
guess
can
maybe
go.
4.
Everybody.
Oh, you said 4. Oh, so 4.
4 for the
per-
fee.
Oh, well, the way, well, okay.
I just, maybe I just,
Yeah.
Everybody go.
Oh, so everyone can go, and then is our jurisdiction gonna handle the cost of this?
we would cover the cost.
That was, see, I was waiting for that.
Oh, yeah.
The
Well,
best.
Yes, we canceled multiple conference attendance. We had a lot of out-of-state travel that we had planned to do in fall and early spring that we did not attend because of a thing called Omicron. And so we have budgeted funds available, and we felt that this was a really inexpensive. It is not a junket. It's in Roanoke, Virginia. We're not going to Jamaica. We're not, it's not like we're going to the Russian tea room. This is a case of, it is at the Hotel Roanoke. It's attended. Frequently we get attendees from other states as well, because it's such a bang for buck conference. 4 people for $300 plus 1 night of lodging and limited per diem. We would take a vehicle from here, probably make a stop down in the Spotsylvania, Stafford area along 95,
Pick
pick up
someone
another
up.
group.
We're busting down.
So you pick us up along the way, is that what you're
Not at your house. but Maybe a parking lot or something like that. Head down to Roanoke and then likely have the commission meeting that afternoon. That way you're done. And then your focus is on that night's activity. And there's a welcoming reception there, but that's when they do the bus product showcase. And then the next morning is the technical sessions. General sessions, typically the Secretary of Transportation speaks. And then what we would do is we would then have the opportunity at the commission's meeting to personally invite some of those officials that you want to express your concerns with regarding transportation funding. We would invite them to come down and you would have the opportunity to just talk to them face to face about some of these issues and concerns. it's really just to gauge the interest.
And fellow commissioners, let me just say, I think this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I really do. And I'm gonna be a little selfish. You know, as your chair, what a great legacy. I didn't get to get us through COVID, 19, Chair Franklin did that. No, I'm not gonna be selfish, but I think this would be an awesome opportunity to really get down. I like the rest of the transportation leaders that's gonna be down there, and we got an opportunity to engage. And then the opportunity to look at new transit, vehicles and processes. I mean, it's really a good learning piece. And the best part is PRTC has budgeted for it. So I know many of you are in your head saying, can you handle this from your own local budgets? And how do you do the per diem piece? But we don't even have to drive. We literally jump on a bus, we travel down, we enjoy a day and a half of, our commissioners meeting, but then really an opportunity to hear from, the rest of the transportation industry of relevance and significance. I think it's a grand opportunity, that we should jump on. However, I don't know where we go from here. Do we all raise our hand and say, yeah, let's do this? Or do we just go learn more and bring back something in case there's something we're missing on this?
Is this time sensitive? Like, do we need to make a decision by a certain time?
Next commission meeting, if we have the general temperature, what we would do from here is, because if everyone in the room said, what are you thinking? We wouldn't do this work, but we'll reach out to all the members of the Board of Supervisors, principally who aren't here tonight. Is their schedule available? Those kinds of things. And then
I was thinking about dates.
Yes.
I need to know dates. early
Exactly.
so that we
It's
can-
June 1st and 2nd, so it's at least June 1st and June 2nd. So at least that's easy to remember. We'll send out some information. You would probably depart, we would probably take the bus out of here around 9 o'clock in the morning. And then you would be back here by about between 7 and 8 o'clock on Thursday night. So it's a Wednesday and a Thursday. And the reason why is the lunch ends at about 2:30 is when the luncheon usually ends. And then just gathering everybody to get back on the vehicle and head back north. So and then of course we take a break partway through, et cetera.
I have a question. For those whose schedules don't permit them to go, did you say there would be an electronic setup for the meeting that evening?
Yes, so what we would do is you participate virtually for those who couldn't attend, or we could also set up have a secondary location. So we would have two locations with a physical, we have to have a physical quorum somewhere. So as long as the physical quorum is met, we're in good shape for participation.
So the meeting doesn't start until what time on Wednesday?
So on Wednesday,
966
west and
981 south.
figured how far is Roanoke?
Wow.
So the meeting starts around, refresh me, it's been a while since we did this, guys, for the commission, for the BTA, it's around 4 PM, is that right?
Okay.
On Wednesday. And it usually starts out, you walk around, there's the vendor expo, you have some door prizes, talk to the different technology firms or check out the buses, et cetera. And that goes to about 7:30. And there's food, drink, just enjoy yourself and then head out to dinner on your own. And then the next morning, breakfast available. And so dinner on your own and breakfast and lunch, so.
I'll be studying transit in France on that day, so.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's an upgrade.
This is where we should be going. This is where we should be.
That's
going.
when we get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
We go to France.
I'll send pictures.
So will you guys then email us each individually to ask us our preference?
We may do something like a doodle poll is kind of what I'm thinking, and just to get a sense of this, and we'll, if it looks like there's enough interest and we have the people available, then we would bring a resolution to the May meeting for formal adoption by the commission.
You said it includes a per diem as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So just a simple straw poll, not really taking a vote on this. How does everybody feel about us investigating further and then bringing back?
I
So
like that.
we good to continue, okay.
What facility?
It's at the Hotel Roanoke, and they have an attached transportation museum. It's a little tricky because Roanoke, I believe, has two. I've only been to Roanoke and never to those two locations, but they have two different museums. It's the one attached to the Hotel Roanoke, I believe.
It's across the street.
Across the street, okay.
Yes, and then the conference center is actually on the grounds of the hotel.
Oh, it's nice.
Yes, very much so.
I'm gonna have a hotel, it's nice.
I've never been, I'm just.
Oh, no, I'm just looking at the hotel.
That is, I'm a creature of the Marriott course.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
Hilton,
really
so.
nice hotel.
Being members of VML has its privileges. Better hotels.
All right. All right, and with that, I would like to call up my colleague and good friend Barbara Murdoch. See if she will grace us with all of her knowledge about what's going on in operations.
Thank you, Dr. Bob, and good evening, commissioners. I want to thank Chair Angry for coming out with some more colleagues to our Transit Appreciation Day. You know, the employees really enjoyed that, being to see you, shake your hand, and talk with you, so thanks for coming out. So over the last 6 weeks, we've had several priorities we focused on, and that's recruitment, training, maintenance, and parts. And we're making progress in those areas. I had some flyers put out for you so you can help us with our recruitment efforts. Currently, we have 5 new operators that are hired, and 4 of them are being onboarded on May 2nd. And we're advertising heavily, and by mid-May, we're pleased to announce that we will be a third-party certifier for CDL licenses. That means the pool of applicants grows because they don't have to have a CDL. We'll be doing it ourselves. So if you can go to your constituents and say, look, we got jobs for you, ask them to go on our website, fill out the information, and just give me a call with the names and we'll put them up immediately. At a previous meeting, you met our new maintenance director. His name is Thomas Hallett, and he's been with us a little over a month. You've already seen improvements. Our bus availability is improving, which translates into less missed trips. And we're receiving parts. You know, the supply chain issue has been a big challenge, but we're receiving parts almost at a normal basis now. Our next bid pick is coming up on May 16th. That is where operators pick their work schedules. Keolis is currently meeting with our lawyers to start the outline for the collective bargaining process. The contract with operators ended in March. We got an extension to May 1, so we're looking forward to scheduling that before May. As you know, TSA has extended the mandate for wearing masks on the bus through later in the month. And lastly, we are excited that this weekend we have the bus rodeo. There are flyers out about that as well in front of you, and Christine has some. This is a safety competition where operators take buses through an obstacle course. Mechanics have to diagnose a problem, and it's going to be held in Alexandria at Dash. The Saturday competition is with mechanics and it's closed to the public. But Sunday, we're all going out between 8:30 and noon to cheer our team on. And hopefully we can bring back some wins for them. And that's about it. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Murdoch. I do have one just on because I'm looking at my calendar right now for this bus rodeo. We can all come out there too for this, right?
Yes, I'm inviting you.
I'll be there
Absolutely.
Sunday, yes.
Sunday, that's when we're going Sunday.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I'm definitely want to come out, because I know I'm gonna jump in one of these buses and do it.
They may let you drive.
If you want to do that, we'll just take you to Manassas, where there's more space.
Okay.
We can let you go around the yard.
I can see you last on the bus.
That's what I was thinking, like that last one with buses. I'll try it. I'm sorry. Just want to thank you for your report. And listen, I just want to say, like Keolis, every time I come around and just kind of chat with the folks, always good attitudes, always good conversation. We're gonna hear from one that I spent like, I don't know how long we spent talking, 2 hours. We just
They told me about that one. So thank you.
always good, always a good time and just sitting down. And I see a big difference from 2019 to where we are now with employees of, here of Army, right? So.
And also, we talk about the collaboration among our leadership teams. We do a lot of things together.
So thank you, man.
You're
Did anybody have any questions, comments, or? Okay, thank you.
Two things. One, Carl, if we can go back a slide. I forgot to address something. So a reminder is one thing that catches commissioners off guard sometimes is the high school graduations. You guys aren't thinking that far ahead, but now they move the different graduations to different nights. So these are some dates to pay attention to. So if you do have obligations in the community to attend these graduation dates, or if you have family or friends, just make note of that so that you don't end up, we've had a few times where we've had some commissioners last minute have to cancel. We just like to bring that up as a reminder for your benefit there. And then the final item is there is an article about as workers return to the office, guess what? They're driving. They're not riding transit. There's a couple of reasons for that, and the article covers it. But especially in the DMV, there is tremendously high turnover naturally by federal employees, military, et cetera. So there are a lot of people who've moved here in 2 years that have never had to ride transit. So not only are they going back to work, when you typically would move to the region, you had a coworker next to you that when you got to work the first day and said, oh my goodness, what is happening? They would at least tell you to go to HR or talk to somebody and give you solutions. They haven't had that experience. So now they're approaching, and what's the solution? Jump in your car.
So one of the big opportunities that you have, not that I want to give you this scoop, but I was a slugger for many, many, many years. And we'll always see the bus pull up. And now I started seeing some Omni rides. What are you doing to take advantage of this opportunity that you have, which is really, really big, because we have not started slugging again yet. Because usually 3 in a car, 4 in a car, and it's just too close knit right now. That is, when you talk about opportunity, that is an opportunity right there. That once you take that on, you know, that slugging is gonna come back, but that in between that time right now is something that if you could do something about that, thinking outside the box.
Yeah, we are very, very active in slugging as a concept. And part of the reason that slugging works is because transit's there. So if you don't have that slug vehicle show up, you can climb onto transit. They are often frequently side by side. Now, as you get further outside the footprint of transit, if you live in Spotsylvania County, well, there's no transit. But if you, where does slugging occur? Slugging doesn't occur at the empty Home Depot. It occurs at the parking lot. And there's a reason that drives that, and it's been that case for about 40 years.
So you're missing my point. It's like, we're not slugging right now because of COVID. And I'm saying, if you could increase the numbers on the buses, find a mechanism to get those people on those buses, they may not return to slugging. So
question of the day is, how are they getting in now? Or are they working?
we just drive,
So
we
you
drive to
drive-
the parking lot.
So that's the other folks that are driving now more. So if somewhere, how, you know, but as fast as slugs, you know, I mean, not slugs, but the cars
So
pull
we
up and
drive
slug.
to the parking lots,
Right.
every single person, we park there, and then we get
Get
into
that
a
line.
car. We get into a car and we go in 3, sometimes 4 in a car. We haven't been doing that. So right now I'm saying, if Omni ride or, you know, the buses are coming, more buses to take
That's
more
the thing,
people,
the more.
then you will capture those individuals that are right now scared to get in a car. They will prefer to go into a bus. What I'm saying, if you get them, you capture them, they may not return to slugging.
Right.
If you're trying to, I'm just giving you an idea
That's good, 'cause we are
to
trying to
increase your
increase.
ridership.
Sir, that is the end of.
That is all right. All right, well, thank you. Okay, so we have one presentation. Yes, and so, Ms. Janae Muller, time, because I was gonna say time, you know, at HR, it sketches people down
Muller time, yes.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Very strange to be here. So I want to first thank all the members of the board for giving me an opportunity to update you on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Group. My name is Janae Muller, as Chair Angry did say. I am a Senior Transportation Support Associate, which roughly translates into a customer service agent. So I'm one of those helpful voices on the phone when you can't find a bus, or if you need assistance. We've been getting a lot of phone calls recently about people returning to work. So I have seen an uptick of people who are now starting their SMART benefits or transferring over from the VRE. And even today, a couple of people who used to slug and they're looking for opportunities. So you are correct. Personally, myself, I'm a mother of 3. I'm a grandmother of 6. I have been with the company for a little over 4 years. I have been a member of the DEI since 2019. I recently became the chair in 2021. I took over from Ben Matters, who was absolutely amazing. Before I start my report, though, I would like to thank Dr. Robert Schneider for all of his guidance and support since the inception of the DEI committee. I do feel that having a leader with both wisdom and vision creates a psychologically safe and productive work environment. And that's what we're trying to do here. Now, our diversity, equity, and inclusion group has been working diligently to focus on the areas of our strategic plan. It's been a little difficult with the new normal of telecommuting and hybrid working. And in addition, we also welcomed a new contractor, which was Keolis in 2021. And in April of 2021, sorry, last year, but in April of 2021, the first members of Keolis joined the DEI group. And they have been amazingly active in helping with so many different things with us. We recently added Keolis's diversity, equity, and inclusion statement to our boards. So if you get a chance, it does take a little bit longer to run, so you might have to stand there for a little bit and wait. But it's a great thing to see. In addition, they have been very helpful and very active in doing our deep dives. To explain what a deep dive is, it is an employee, and if you look up, you can see Carolyn Narr's pictures from hers. Our deep dives are a chance for employees to give not only information about the work that they do here, but other personal information about themselves. One of the things that I found out, and I'm so glad that you're here that I get to say this, I did not know that Ms. Murdoch had a pink toolbox and that she started off as a mechanic. I was amazed. I also did not know that Kwame, our security guard, who is not here tonight, but you've all met, actually has a degree in agriculture from his country in Ghana. He did a deep dive with us last month. To go on our training series that we've been doing here, and you'll see these are some of our faces from our deep dives. We record all of them, so they are all on our iDrive. But our training classes that we've been doing recently and over the past few years, we've covered workplace bullying and violence prevention, team building across cultures, and our most recent one that we are doing is our discussions on diversity. These are held monthly, and at current right now, we have had an 81% attendance rate for all of our classes combined. And that's a really good number considering that so many of us are remote, and it's very difficult to get all of us in together at the same time. Now, I believe that this is due to the fact that we have breakout sessions, and our breakout sessions are random. So it does give employees who don't normally see each other a chance to converse with other employees about important diversity and cultural issues. We are currently asking for participants, and you can see here, this is one of our classes where some of us are here and some of us are not there. But we have 7 classes that we're doing. We are asking for a mandatory 4 of the classes to do, and any employee that completes all 7, there will be a prize awarded. We have not determined what that is yet, but we were actually discussing that today. We had one of those classes. Now, moving on to the next slide. Every new hire that comes into the company now receives a new hire orientation. And it's several training classes on workplace culture, EEO policies, things like that, to brief them before they actually start to work with the team. So there's a little bit of an induction, so they understand the cultural policies and how we work with diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have our information screens. We do our all-hand meetings once a month. We have a bi-weekly newsletter that we also send out. And those are just a few ways that employees are able to get information on ongoing and upcoming events. Now, the DEI and Human Resources has been collaborating over the past 2 years of the DEI's inception to create little human interest pieces. The 2 that stick out for 2022 were International Women's Day and also Rare Disease Day on February 28th. I actually worked with a friend of mine who plays progression keyboard. He has a riboflavin deficiency transporter disease, and he's in a wheelchair. So it was working with somebody who is disabled. He is an amazing person. If anyone wants the link, I would be more than happy to share it with you. It's actually me singing and him playing piano, so it was a lot of fun. I'm also happy to report that the DEI has signed a 2-year agreement with the American Public Transportation Association, and that is for their racial equity and commitment program. We have also started an Equal Employment Opportunity Action Plan. It is an abbreviated program with the VRE. And we've recently instituted our ADP program, which now gives demographical information on not only new hires, but current employees that have either left our service or have gotten promoted. So on our website, on our link, you can actually see the demographic information of how long it takes to hire a new employee. In fact, we just did that today for the part-time position downstairs and the new CFO. Now, back in April of 2020, we did work with an outside contractor to hold a series of trainings on conflict resolution. That was the first time that we did it with Zoom. So that was our first time using outside technology to sort of bring us all together. And we are still currently looking to go that route. We're currently looking for a professional trainer to help with things like unconscious bias, implicit bias, to understand how those work out in the workplace. So I want to all thank you, and I want to also let you know that we are still working on our website. We're still gathering information so that our portion of the DEI website that will be forward facing to the public has more information and will give information on all of us as well. So once again, thank you for this opportunity to update you on the progress. I look forward to doing it again in October. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them now.
Well, Janae, let me just start by saying you're great at this, right? And you know, when people first heard the words diversity, equity, and inclusion, you know, it started a little. I think the climb started a little slow, and then it got into a point of what is this really all about? But now what you see, and you know, this is pretty much an area, so, you know, organization, military, you know, this is everywhere. What you see is the communication bridge relationship that you get from working with each other, right? Just because that's that part that makes organizations better, right? So everything you said was very well laid out and said very well. And I think, as you said, 81% participated by you know, Zoom or whatever you're using for your video platform. I always say there's a rose in the concrete jungle. As horrible and terrible as COVID-19 was, what it taught us is the video access that we use now. And some people are more comfortable sitting where they are at home on a video screen and then sharing their story with others on the screen. So I think that number is only going to grow here. And I hope you keep that access for the video web link, even when we get back to a, you know, hopefully a fully functioning world where COVID is behind us. So hope you keep that, because I think some people are actually more introverted and comfortable with sharing that way. And I think that's why you see your numbers so well projected. That's just my 2 cents. Any other comments?
Love it.
Love it, yeah. And when I said I spent 2 hours when I was over here for the cookout, that's what I spent. Her and I sat there just about any time.
Are you in a band now?
That's right. You know, we're buds now.
He's welcome to come along. If you can play tambourine or a cowbell, you're in.
I definitely can't sing, so you don't want that.
Yes, ma'am.
What does that raw number look like, 81%? How many folks did you have in one call?
Well, this is OmniRide employees that are doing the diversity and discussion study. So it's 48, I believe, employees that are currently with us. We do actually have some Keolis members that will pop in when they do have time. When we were doing in-person sessions, we did have Nick Bauer and Sue Clue and a couple of other people when they're able to. So, but I don't believe we count those among the numbers. I think we're just counting OmniRide employees, and that would be the set, I believe, 48 or 49 that we have.
Piggyback off of the question that Ms. Short just asked, of the percentage of employees, what is the percentage of non-diverse employees?
In regards to people of color or?
Non-diverse.
Do you have the demographics?
No, that I do not have. I can check the ADP website, and actually Becky Mariner, our HR director, when I were discussing getting the information up to date as current and to include today's meeting. But I can get those demographics to see.
It's just something to think about. It's not for me. It's just that something that I work on right now.
Oh, no, I'd be more than happy to get you the numbers and let you know.
So the reason why I was mentioning the number is because you want, your rate of success would be when, because non-diverse individuals know about diversity. What Caucasians need to know is about diversity. So that percentage, once that start increasing, that would be your success rate. So that's why I was asking what number that is.
I would look more for those success rates on the, not so much for the training here for the diversity discussions. They're basically a 5-minute video and then we break out into segment groups. I would kind of look more of, as we find a professional trainer for the unconscious and the implicit bias. Those I feel are really important discussions to have with the diversity, equity, and inclusion group. There is a lot of things that we know, but we don't know why we know them. There are a lot of things that we feel and we don't know why we feel them. So it's getting into those discussions that I think the demographics of diverse and non-diverse would be a lot more instrumental, or I'm skipping my words, but a little bit more understanding to see how things go. Now, we've had other discussions, like I try to do 10 a.m. for administrative, 2 p.m. for a little bit more in-depth discussions on ideas and things that we want to discuss. And I found in the one meeting that we did back in February, I had a lot of non-diverse people that spoke on the topic that we were discussing. I had a lot of people who are from both sides that shared their experiences and discussed things in a more open and trusting environment. One of the things that I try to do is create positive intent and trust. So before we even start a meeting, I let everyone know we're all going to speak to each other from a place where we believe that we're speaking well and that we can trust one another within the room. But I am very curious and I will find those numbers out for you.
Yes. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Yes.
Excuse me. I know it wasn't, I'm sure it wasn't part of your charge, but with regard to your group, if you can share, were there any members or participants disabled? In terms of equity and diversity or so forth, so often the disabled is left out of those groups.
Right now, I don't believe that we have, I mean, I wouldn't say physically, no, I don't believe that we do at the moment, but it's only employee-based. So as I'm trying to get more, I actually talked to a few bus drivers, and I know that we do have a few disabled bus drivers and things of that nature that I'm trying to get more of a collaboration from other than top management of Keolis. But I will look into that. I am looking into getting more of a diverse pool of people on the committee.
Yeah, I'm not asking so much for you to make that a charge of yours, but I've been searching around for offices that have been in diversity and equity and inclusion and deal with diversity. Some group that has included the disabled and made concerted efforts about that diversity among staffs and inclusion in this policies and so forth. And I haven't been able to find it yet. I was just want to take advantage.
Oh, no,
I'd like to ask them, I would love to have feedback on how the group worked when that was also factored into.
For us particularly, I've had conversations with our director of HR, Becky Mariner, about access for disabled people within the building, not only so much as a committee, but access into the building, access out of the building, access around, access for the buses, things that diversity for me is more than just a race issue. It's a complete inclusion of, and that's why I think I would love to send you the video that I did. It was a great working with somebody who has challenges but overcomes them. But we have discussed other issues of making sure that the building and both here in the Western facility are a little bit more accessible for people with disabilities.
Thank you.
Can you send a video link to everyone?
I can send it to Christine, and actually I think I did, but I'll send it to you again. It's about 30 minutes long. I apologize.
So not to exclude our online commissioners, do you, either of you have any questions, comments?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. Glad to see we're continuing to move along with the DEI initiative. And it sounds like you're trying to be as inclusive as possible. I appreciate the attention to race is important. our Northern Virginia region, especially Prince William County, is the most diverse locality in Virginia for all sorts of different reasons. Race is one of them, national origin, folks that have from different walks of life, immigrants. So it sounds like you guys are really tackling that issue. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Well, once again, ma'am, I want to say thank you for that presentation. Looking forward to your next outstanding job.
Thank you very much.
Would you believe she was nervous?
Let me give you the online thumbs up.
Oh, thank you. I've always.
So, ladies and gentlemen, commissioners, we have no organizational action items. Just want to throw that word in there because we're going to move into chair sign where I have an action item. Only one. And it's concurrence with member jurisdiction appointments to the Virginia Railway Express Operations Board. And so I'll just give you a little bit snippet. Stafford County wishes to move Ms. Pamela Young from being a member of the BRD Operations Board to alternate member and move Ms. Monica Gary from the alternate member to member. So I can get a motion.
So.
Second.
All right, basically, we're just lining up with what BRB has done. This is
Yeah,
so. Okay, I have a motion. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion? I guess I just kind of discussed that before I said discussion. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Pamela, did you call for the-
I'm Pamela Young. So we just switch, we're just doing a switcheroo.
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kalai Kamsami.
Aye.
Karen Mills,
Aye.
Kim Short,
Yes.
Tanisha Allen,
Yeah.
Pamela Young,
Yes.
Ralph Smith,
Yes.
Jeanette Richel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Fraser, Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that motion is approved.
Thank you, ma'am. And now we're just gonna get right to it, because I don't have any real comments, but I do have a nice surprise. And so me and Madam Vice Chair, we're gonna have Mr. Bob stand up here, because we got something for you, bro. Yes, we do, and it's not on
Do
your
I need to
cheat
get a
sheet.
box?
No, you don't need to get a box. Today, we are celebrating Dr. Robert Snyder's 5 years, and he gets his 5-year pin. And it is a very cool. Not army style, because that would be blood wings, and you don't do that anymore. But I am gonna.
Oh, I did the pleasure for turning this.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Look at, can I just, I'm gonna just, let me pin that too, man. This is such a cool looking pen. Do I get one of these? If you don't drop it back. That was so not cool too. And I was being all cool here, and then I dropped it back. There it is. There it is. Yeah, I'm gonna come on, you get in the middle. I'm gonna come on this side. and flip
Can I ask
that.
you to come over here?
Out of the light.
Away from the screen and.
Make sure-
Yes, it is. All
I know I'm checking that out.
right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. 5 years, get a free pen.
Get a free pen, man. That's what they give out.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was. That was the highlight. Yeah, I touched the strings. Okay, that was the highlight of me. And so right now, we're gonna go around the room. First of all, any other business, no other business? So commission signs, and we'll just start right here.
Thank you, everyone, for being patient with me as I recover. I'm so happy to be out of my boot. I'm in my gold flights here. So I'm healing. Thank you so much.
Yes. Right.
Pass.
I just want to say happy Easter to everyone and happy Ramadan to those of our writers and staff that are celebrating. I wish you a great religious month and see you in May.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for your warm welcome here today. And same thing, just happy holidays this coming week.
Yes.
Nothing for the good of the group.
What time? Is that record breaking?
No, it's
not.
not. No, Margaret got us out here sort of.
Well, let me hit this now so the clock will stop.
Madam
All
Chair,
right. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, online. Sorry, Commissioner Franklin, Commissioner Bodie. You guys got some words, parting words?
I will just say that I can't believe that you got out of a meeting quicker than me.
We do need a motion.
Yes, so, and then Supervisor Bodie?
I mean, Commissioner Franklin, if you want, I can diatribe for another 5 or 10 minutes.
We know
No,
you can.
Okay. No, appreciate everyone. Thank you for the meeting. For those that don't know, I know my fellow commissioners at Prince William know, but a couple of weeks ago, I had a bad fall, so I got double knee surgery. So that's why I'm not there with you. Healing up well, but appreciate being able to join everyone online. Ramadan Mubarak to all of our Muslim folks that are in the staff, writers. Happy Easter, happy Passover, and hope to see everyone soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Well said, and yeah, you're healing well, so we wish you nothing but speedy recovery. All right, so can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Properly seconded, got a motion properly seconded. Any discussion, no discussion, all those in favor? So, can we go with the aye, are we? Okay, and we're good, okay. There it is.
They're all like this. They're not all like this.
In the Roanoke.
I'm getting to do that, right?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll be there. I was gonna have to get back here.
That has to be immersed in.
Oh, yeah.
Finding out how to utilize.
They're doing very well.
I will talk to the CEO. The state actually, for the nonprofit, right? So you can use the goggles and the whole thing to. In addition.